So, OpenAI just dropped GPT 5.1. And look, while you might be expecting some kind of massive technical leap, the real story here is, well, it's something else entirely. It's an update that made one really smart AI developer say something that made my ears perk up.
Just let that sink in for a second. If a huge update to one of the most powerful AIs on the planet isn't for the people who actually build stuff with it, that leaves us with a pretty big question mark, doesn't it? Who is the real audience for GPT 5.1? Well, that's the mystery we're going to solve right now. We're going to follow the clues, look at the evidence, and figure out exactly who OpenAI is trying to reach with this thing. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with its new conversational vibe. Then we'll dig into its smarter reasoning. After that, we'll look at a super important therapist mode update. And finally, we'll deliver the verdict. Let's do it. Okay, first up, let's talk about the most obvious change right out of the gate, the vibe. Seriously, the whole way GPT 5.1 talks is just different. And you know what? That was completely on purpose. Yeah, OpenAI came right out and said it. They made the model warmer and more conversational. This isn't just some minor tweak or a bug fix. It's like they gave it a whole new personality. They're shifting away from it being just a tool for information and turning it into something more like a partner you can chat with. And check this out. This shows you exactly what I mean. On the left, the old version is super direct, almost like a robot. Aggressive, relaxing. I mean, what even is that? But on the right, 5.1 is so much more empathetic. It starts with, I got you. It tells you your feeling is normal. It's a tiny change in words, but a huge, huge shift in tone. But here's where it gets interesting. While 5.1 is definitely nicer, it might not be the nicest one out there. The source material actually found that a competitor, Kimi K2, was maybe even more helpful. It suggested actual lifestyle changes and, this is key, responsibly pointed the user towards talking to a real therapist. So this whole vibe shift is happening across the board. And to give you even more control over this new vibe, OpenAI rolled out customizable personalities. You can now tell the AI to stick to a specific tone, whether you want it to be friendly, professional, or, my personal favorite, cynical. This is a game changer for regular users who just want a consistent chat experience. And you've got to see how well this works. Someone told it they spilled coffee on themselves before a meeting, and with cynical mode on, it hits back with this. Nah, dude, nobody cares. I mean, that is just brutally honest and kind of hilarious, right? It just goes to show this update is way less about crunching data and way more about the style and feel of the conversation. Okay, our next piece of evidence goes a little deeper than just the vibe. The model didn't just get friendlier, it also got smarter, but not in the way you might think. The goal wasn't just raw power, it was about making the user experience better. And it all boils down to this thing called reasoning. So what the heck is AI reasoning? Well, the simplest way to think about it is that it's like the AI's thinking out loud to itself before it talks to you. It kind of mutters under its breath, generates a bunch of extra thoughts to check its own work, and then gives you the final, more polished answer. It works, but man, it can be slow. Now, the big breakthrough with 5.1 is something called adaptive reasoning. This is really cool. The model now basically decides for itself how much thinking it needs to do. You ask it a simple question, it'll give you a quick, snappy answer. You ask it something complex, okay, now it's going to take a second to really think it through. This chart lays it out perfectly. Simple question, the thinking bar is low. Complex question, the bar shoots way up. It's saving its energy for when it really matters. And for you, the user, that means you're not sitting around waiting for an answer to a simple question. It just makes the whole conversation feel faster and more natural. And to really put this into perspective, an older model might burn through 267 reasoning tokens. That's its thinking power, for a super simple request. That is a ton of wasted effort. Now, compare that to a version that does 0 reasoning, which uses just 11 tokens. Adaptive reasoning is all about living in that sweet spot right in between, so the AI feels lightning fast for everyday chats, but still has the horsepower when you need it. All right, let's move on to our final, and honestly, probably the most important piece of evidence we have. This update isn't just about making the AI chatty and efficient, it's about making it safe, especially when it's dealing with people who might be vulnerable. So check this out. This is what a previous model, GPT-4o, said when it was told a completely ridiculous story. It just went along with it. It completely bought into the user's delusion, which you can imagine could be pretty dangerous in a different context. Now just look at the difference with 5.1. It's night and day. Instead of just blindly agreeing, it gently pushes back with a little humor and logic. It doesn't validate the delusion, but it also doesn't shut the user down. It's a much, much more responsible way to handle things. And when the user keeps pushing, the model doubles down on this really empathetic but grounded approach. It says it's going to respond with care, respecting the user's feelings, without confirming things that aren't true. The source basically calls this the AI going into full therapist mode. And this is the bottom line, folks. This isn't just a small improvement. This kind of nuanced, empathetic pushback is a massive leap forward for AI safety. As Theo says in the source material, a change like this, well, it's going to save lives. It can stop people from spiraling down really dangerous rabbit holes. Okay, we've looked at the new conversational vibe, we've looked at the smarter adaptive reasoning, and we've seen the critical safety updates. So let's bring it all home and finally answer that big question. Who is GPT 5.1 really for? When you lay all the evidence out, the picture becomes crystal clear. This update isn't for a developer trying to optimize some code. It's for the everyday person. It's for people who want to talk to an AI, not just use it as a tool. It's for casual users, for people who want a safe and supportive experience. And yes, even for people who might be emotionally reliant on it. This is an update for the masses, for the normies. And that really just leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. As these AI models get more and more woven into our daily lives, as they go from being simple tools to something more like companions, you have to wonder, is an AI's personality, its safety, its vibe, gonna end up being more important than its raw number crunching power? It sure seems like OpenAI is betting that it will.